Hey guys, I'm sorry about that. I had to run away real quick because the phone was ringing. I'm back. Now, as I said, Claudia poisoned Lestat, and basically she had sliced his throat. And Louis and her dumped his body in a swamp, basically, from where I left off. And they search for the old vampires, the old kind, and the old world, basically. And let's us continue. As Louis and Claudia prepare to flee to Europe, Lestat appears having survived and recovered from Claudia's attack, and attacks them in turn. Louis sets a fire in their home and barely escapes with Claudia, leaving them furious Lestat to become consumed by the flames. And, can you just imagine that? Just seeing that in your head? That's horrible. Gives me the creeps, actually. Anyway, arriving in Europe, Louis and Claudia seek out more of their kind. They travel throughout Eastern Europe, first and do indeed encounter vampires, but these vampires appeared to be nothing more than animated corpses, mindless and uncalculable. It was only when they reached Paris, and they encounter vampires like themselves, especially the 400-year-old vampire Armand. Heart flutters, and his coven, and they're treated vampires, and having an ancient theater. Armand and his vampire coven disguises themselves as humans and feed off the live. Terrified humans in mocking plays before the live human audience, who think the killings are merely fantastic realistic performance, which is not, basically, because they're actually killing the prisoners they captured, and they're killing them in front of these audience, and they don't realize that it's really real, not just an act. Claudia imports by these vampires, and she considers to be their chief theatrix. San Diego, a prominent figure among the vampire coven, suspects Claudia and Louis killing their maker. One rule among vampires is death to any vampires who kills their own kind. Now, if you realize what that means, if you don't, it means someone has to be punished for such a crime. Anyway, Claudia demands that Louis turn a human Parisian doll maker, Madeleine, into a vampire to serve the both mother figure in replacement of Louis. Claudia is convinced that Louis wants to be with Armand and will leave her. Louis at first refuses, but after realizing Claudia's plot, gives in and makes Madeleine into a vampire. Louis and Madeleine and Claudia live together for a brief time, but all three are abducted by one night by the theatre vampires. Lestat has arrived. He's alive, people! And having survived the fire and attempted murder in New Orleans, a caution against Louis and Claudia results in Louis being locked in a coffin and starved, while Claudia and Madeleine are locked up in an open courtyard. Which means a courtyard is like a room, and if you're shoved in there and you look up, there's a light that can shine down among you. And if you were a vampire locked in that courtyard room, you'd probably be scared out of your damn mind, because that's worse any vampire can ever picture. Anyway, let's get back to the subject. Now, where was I? Okay, Armand, we're going back to Armand now, arrives and releases Louis from the coffin, and Madeleine and Claudia are burned to death. The rising sun. Louis finds an ashen remains of Claudia and Madeleine and is devastated, meaning he's very, very upset. And when you're upset, anger bursts up in flames. He later returns to the theater late the following night, burning it to ground as the sun rises and killing all the vampires inside, and leaves with Armand. Louis and Armand then travel across Europe, and together for several years. But Louis never fully recovers from Claudia's death. Tired of the old world, Louis eventually returns him to his America in New Orleans in the early 20th century, living as a loner, and he feeds off any humans that he crosses the path and lives in the shadows and never creates another companions for himself. Telling the boy one last, which describes the detailed Lestat in later in books, encounter with Lestat in New Orleans. Louis ends his tale after 200 years. He weary immortality as the vampire, all the pain and suffering to which he has had to bear witness. The boy, however, seeing only the great powers granted to a vampire, begs to be made into a vampire himself. Infuriated that he interviews learn nothing from his story, Louis refuses and attacks the boy and feeding off him and rendering him unconscious. After then vanishes without a trace. Recovering from attack, the boy notes the address of the home where Louis last saw Lestat in New Orleans, then leaves to track down Lestat himself. So basically, as I told you, it's about the story. This book, I learned so much from it, and this book means the world to me. I learned so much from Louis, and I wouldn't be a vampire if someone paid me $1,000 for it, because I learned from the story. I really did. And if you guys love what I told you, I recommend you to grab this book at any local bookstore as possible, and it's the best book you will ever read in your life. Learn from his words, and also there's a secret behind this book as well. New Orleans of Louisiana has many secrets and many historical things, because if you have been to New Orleans and went on to the tour, the vampire tour or something like that, this man tells you about this book as well. He tells you about the secrets that's told in her stories, Anne Rice's stories, and it's the best book that you will ever read. And if you liked me telling you this, I will read more about the series, if you like, about the series for you, and see if you would like to continue on and on. I mean. I love the story with all my heart, and I think if Louis is watching, I really thank you, Louis, for always being my inspiration and always letting me learn from mistakes and so on and so forth. I really thank you for that. I really love this book. I believe in vampires with all my heart. I believe in mortality. I believe in all of that crap. I believe in the series. I believe in all of that. Because I'm a dreamer, and dreamers can go far. So, I thank you so much for watching this, guys. It means the world to me for you guys to watch this. And I thank you for it. I shall continue. If you want me to, just please rate and comment on the underbar. I do not own any of Anne Rice's books at all. I thank her with all my beloved heart for her. And she's the precious woman that will ever be. I really love her. She's very precious. And I love her books with all my heart. And I learn from them with dignity and stuff like that. I will go on if you want me to, as I said. I have to go now, because I don't want my camera to go broken in two. Because it's dying, going low, because I hear it beeping. I thank you so much for watching, guys. It means the world to me. I love you, and stay happy, and keep safe, and I wish all the best for you guys in the world. Thank you for watching. Mwah.